Hey everyone, it's Clint. This is my third shot at recording this video, so this better be good. I just ended up talking too long. So we're going to talk about where the world was when COVID started with crowdfunding. This is an article from back in May, and I find it interesting to compare it to what we have today. And yeah, that's the plan. So Fatal is on IndieGoGo right now. Check it out. I want to push this thing and try to get 2,000 backers. I heard somebody say that Boy Zach said that that's his cutoff, his personal cutoff for success for a crowdfunded book. If he makes under 2,000 backers, then it's not worth doing. I don't know if that's true or not. I've never heard him say that, but that's crazy to me because 2,000 would be amazing. Like that would be amazing. So we're going to push for 2,000 backers to meet this supposed threshold or something. And really that would be great because that would put us over $100,000, which would be amazing. So I'm going to really push this campaign. Help us out. If you haven't got the book, get it. Here it is. Get the collector's bundle, or if you already have the book, consider getting the t-shirt. It looks great. And yeah, then you help support the campaign, help us really break into comics, help us establish ourselves as creators in comics. The art in this is amazing. All right. The Beat Comics Culture put this out. How is crowdfunded? All right, let me start that again. How is comics crowdfunding doing during the pandemic? Pretty good. But, okay, so what we're going to see here is essentially a demonstration of getting in your own way. That's exactly what this is. In retrospect, this wasn't even that long ago, but if I look at it, you can point out some massive flaws in reason as far as crowdfunding comics go. First thing that this article covers is that Kickstarter announced layoffs of 40% of staff. The good news is that they had union negotiations that have a very generous severance package. The bad news is 40% is laid off. How is this all in the same paragraph? There are 3 sentences here, and 2 of those say they laid off 40% of people, and the other one is celebrating the fact that they have a union that did this. This is problem number 1. It's like a failure to understand cause and effect. This is a problem. Okay, so that was the first one. Got that one out of the way. The second one, they say here, the reason goes back to a post from Kickstarter about a month ago. Campaigns are down about a month ago. This was before COVID really hit, and everyone was talking about it here in the States. Campaigns were down before, okay? But people were still supporting projects. Now, what's the problem here? It's not that Kickstarter did not have enough people backing campaigns. It's that they didn't have enough people putting up projects. More projects equal more money. Okay? So they had a twofold problem. Now, the rhetoric that is going on today and that started then is that it wasn't a good look to do a crowdfunder. First, the reason why it wasn't a good look is because of COVID. Now that everyone has accepted the fact that COVID wasn't just like a month-long or 2-month-long thing, people have all accepted exactly what I said back at the time, that you have to go back to work. You have to continue publishing books, especially because that's a pretty safe business to be in. Publishing and selling books, especially from a crowdfunder site. Okay, so now they've got to have a different reason why it's not a good look. Now the narrative is that it's only for small creators, and you really shouldn't be in there if you're a larger creator. They say this kind of stuff, and they say it so many times, and they have so many excuses why that's the case. It begins to become apparent that the reason they're saying it is because they don't want you to be crowdfunding your comics. There are a whole bunch of people that don't want the industry to change. I don't know why. It's changing whether they like it or not. So you could accept it and embrace it, or you can hang on to things the way that they've been. Okay. So this is a problem. This has been a problem for Kickstarter. They are saying it themselves that it's been a problem. It was a problem at the time and it still is. So now you have large creators coming in, and the narrative is now that it's a bad look because they're large creators. In 2 months from now, they're going to start saying that it's a bad look for a different reason. They will come up with any reason that they can to say why you should not be successful on crowdfunding. I don't know why. I don't understand it, but this happens over and over again. All right, so people are supporting projects, but there are not enough people doing projects. Why is that? Because the people doing projects are the ones bringing backers. If you run your own crowdfunding campaign and you're successful at it, you found a way to drive people to go to those crowdfunding sites. Those people are not just there, oh, I'm on IndieGoGo looking to see what's here. You probably heard about a campaign from the creator and they sent you there. And that's why you're backing a book. Otherwise, you would not be spending those dollars there. That's true for the majority. Okay, I get that there are probably some people that are just perusing Kickstarter and IndieGoGo looking for books, but generally speaking, that's actually not the case. So they do need people creating crowdfunding campaigns in order to bring backers there. All right. So now they get into bigger campaigns. So are there successful campaigns? Yeah, they name one here that made over 300,000, which is insanely successful. They're not naming the ones that are still making anywhere from 20,000 to 80,000. Like all of those are actually successful, and that really helps these crowdfunding sites because that's sort of the bread and butter. They're making money off of all of those. At the time, and still currently, they refuse to acknowledge that IndieGoGo exists. Now, I had thought by now, one of my predictions, I had thought that they would start recognizing IndieGoGo as part of at least the crowdfunded comic scene, because there are just so many books that are making big numbers. They're making six figures. I would have thought that they'd start recognizing IndieGoGo as part of at least the pie. They're still not doing that. Even after Sean Gordon Murphy launched his campaign on IndieGoGo, they're still not recognizing it as a legitimate source of crowdfunded comics. I don't understand it. It's at this point it's just getting ridiculous. It's almost comical how much they try to avoid it. All right, so they go over Jeff Lemire's book. And then here we go. I'm hearing a lot of buzz about creators. Keep in mind, this was May. I'm hearing a lot of buzz about creators going straight to Kickstarter for their new projects as opposed to publishers. A lot of this has to do with Image's issues during Diamond's shutdown. Now, this is not a real reason. This is called an excuse. Because there were already a lot of big creators that had been talking about for months going to crowdfunding to crowdfund a book. And in this case, what happened was because of Diamond's shutdown, that gave everyone an excuse. Let's think back to when Sean Gordon Murphy launched Plot Holes, or right before he launched it. He went on and he made a few YouTube videos, and you could see him on camera justifying why it was okay and why he had made the decision to launch a crowdfunding campaign. Because everybody wants him not to do it. Remember, I said this at the beginning of the video. They're going to find any excuse that they can to tell you that you shouldn't do it, that you should stick to the status quo and, have no success. I don't know why. I don't understand it. They're going to find any excuse. So what Sean Gordon Murphy did is he reasoned through why he should go ahead and do his crowdfunding campaign. For others, they said, hey, here's a convenient excuse. Diamond has shut down. Now I can say, well, here we go. COVID and Diamond, this is a tragedy. Now I can do my crowdfunding campaign because it's, it only makes sense. This was an excuse because everyone needed an excuse to do a crowdfunded book. Now you're seeing more and more pros jump into the water, and a lot of books that look really good that are actually not getting funded because they don't understand crowdfunding, and it has nothing to do with COVID. None of this does. All right. Not only did they lose their periodical distributor, their bookstore distribution, they lost as well. I think the general public thinks that a lot more books get sold through bookstores than actually do get sold through bookstores. Bookstores can't even sell any books. That's why they're shutting down. Barnes and Noble is the last bookstore chain that exists. And even then, there aren't very many of them because Amazon's taking it all. They're taking all the business. This was already a problem. Again, COVID was just used as a scapegoat, essentially. All right. So they mentioned that Image plateaued, and even here we go. Even before this, before COVID, Image seems to have plateaued. That tells you that something else was the problem, but COVID again was a convenient excuse. I don't doubt that Image will bounce back from this. They always do, but the time frame might be longer than anyone would like. Let's see. So they go to digital, and one thing that they pointed out here is with backers don't want digital. Backers want physical books. And I have found this to be true personally, and the numbers don't lie. So digital is not going to kill comics or the original distribution model. It's going to be the convenience of the internet that kills the traditional model. But people are still going to be getting print books. The numbers don't lie. All right. I think that's basically it. One other interesting point that he points out is that comic projects have a really high success rate, 59% success on Kickstarter. I'm interested to see what it would be on IndieGoGo. And this is a comic project versus other kinds of campaigns like tech and dance and film and all those other areas. So comics are actually very successful, and I think that's because there really is so much information out there and so much support for comic books on crowdfunding sites. So if you go unprepared, if you're doing the right things and you go unprepared, you have a more than 50% chance, you have a 59% chance of being successful, at least on Kickstarter. I wouldn't be surprised if it was higher on IndieGoGo, personally. So that is interesting. So would more comic projects be a good idea? Yes, it would be a good idea as long as they're well thought out, because that's going to mean more money for crowdfunding sites. The whole economy that surrounds this crowdfunding would benefit from more projects coming in because they're more than likely to succeed. All right. Yeah, that's basically it. All right. So what does this tell us? It's just interesting to me to see how people figure out what's going on in the industry and how they justify it. I feel like if you took a step back, or maybe you listened to some of the dissenting voices out there, the growing number of dissenting voices, you might see a different perspective. Please look at IndieGoGo. At the very least, you don't have to say Comicsgate. You don't have to look at specific creators. Just look at IndieGoGo and look at those numbers and factor them into the big picture as well. I'm just shocked that they're still not doing that in any of these reporting, any of the numbers. Anytime they talk about crowdfunding, they're ignoring IndieGoGo. When will that change? You let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out Fatal. It's on IndieGoGo right now. Help us to climb to new heights. We've got upgraded print. As soon as we hit 70K, everybody's book is going to become a much more quality book. And I've actually got a quote from a new printer, and I'm going to physically go and check out the printer and look at some paper and some finish options this week. So yeah, things are looking great. So thanks very much for your support, and I'll see you next time.